Okay, according to my computer, we are live. So conduct yourself accordingly, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. Like I said, when it's 9, let me know. I'm going to
Not a
get it
problem. We
started.
got 2 minutes. 2 minutes. I'll advise you, sir.
Okay.
April, welcome aboard. Just give you fair warning, we are already streaming live on YouTube, just so y'all know. And we'll start here in about a minute. Squire Boss, I have 9 o'clock, sir.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Notice of the Fiscal Court Committee video teleconference meeting in accordance with KRS 61.820, 61823, and 61.826. Administrative and Budget Committee of Barron County Fiscal Court will meet Thursday, August 19th, 2021 at 9 a.m. to consider the following, and they call the order. I'm going to go on, and is Ron, are you on this, Jeff Boss? I'm going to skip number 2 to number 3. Ron?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's go ahead and do the review of the quotation for your drug task force. You're asking for, I've got Billy and Mark, I've sent you that. That's a total of $6,217.72 is what you're asking for. Just 2 seconds there to explain to the public or whoever else is on what this actually is for and then where the money is actually coming from, please.
Yes, sir, Mr. Boss. Thank you. What we're getting is a server for the drug task force. The cost is for all the components, the server itself, the sonic wall, and all the equipment needed in installation. The money will be coming from the drug forfeiture, the state drug forfeiture fund. Right now, we've got about $11,784 in that fund, so more than enough to cover the cost. And there, of course, be no cost to the county.
Okay. Well, thank you for that report. I'm going to make a motion that we approve this purchase order for $6,217.72 for the BK Technology Professionals. And that's in a motion.
I'll second that.
I got Billy second it, and then all in favor say aye. And aye. Okay. Thank you, Ron. You can either stay on or you're welcome to kick off. Thank you for your time and letting us set this up for you this morning.
Well, thank you all. Appreciate it.
Okay, let's go ahead and go down to line item 4 real quick, and then that way we won't have to be worrying about anything after the 911 presentation. And the sheriff is out of town actually on training, and he's asking for a purchase order approval for the department yearly training. We do this every year. It's $7,000. It's in his budget line item for training. So it's already been in the budget, and that budget has been approved. So I'm going to make a motion that we have the purchase order approval for the sheriff's department yearly training for $7,000. That's in a motion.
I'll second that.
Mark, second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. We will take that on to the court Tuesday for a full approval. So we're going to go back to line item 2, 911 follow-up on a proposal they had asked the court a couple of meetings ago, and Magistrate Trent Riddle had asked it to be brought before our committee, me, Jeff Botts, Mark Moberman, Billy Houchins. So we have Beverly Harbison. Is she on yet? I know Linda Wells is on, or was on a few minutes
I
ago.
am, Jeff. April and I are on.
All right. So what we would want you to do right now, thank you all. Is there anyone else? We got Linda, we've got Beverly. Is there anybody else you want to recognize while we're here?
April Dunbar's here with me, my assistant.
And her title is?
She's the 911 assistant director.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to turn it over to you all, and you all make your presentation to us, please.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. Linda, do you want to take over?
I will. Tracy, are you going to put up the slideshow just so we can?
Yes, ma'am.
review? Okay. Just to give you a little overview, do I have control, Tracy, or do you?
Give it a try, see what happens.
Okay. Clicking for the next slide, and I'm not getting it.
Okay, let's see if I can do it.
Okay. I'll just tell you when to.
All right, just let me know when, I'll do it.
Great. Just quick review. This slide shows that the city of Glasgow had 37,998 calls. Cave City had 6,700. Barron County had 17,290. And we had a total of Barron Metcalf EMS had 10,481 calls. All that together, during the last fiscal year, we had 72,473 calls. If you'll go to the next slide. This shows, make sure I've got my notes correct here. Incoming calls. We had a total of 109,433 calls during the last year, and that average is about 409 calls divided by generally 3 dispatchers. Okay, the next slide. Okay. Dispatch calls. My notes aren't, okay, we had a total of 70. This just shows how they're broken down, the 72,000 calls that we had. You can see the breakdown there of the percentages. And the next slide shows how the funding has been for the last year for the 911 center. And these are just for full-time employees that we have there. And the next slide. This would be going forward, what we would propose in terms of funding. That would put Cave City at $20,000, which they've already agreed to do. The city at $891,762. The Barron Metcalf County EMS at $210,000. The 911 board at $55,000, and then we are asking for the $50,000 from the fiscal court. So that's pretty much in a nutshell, quickly what we discussed at the meeting we were present at. So I guess now there will be questions, and between Beverly and April and myself, and mostly them, we can answer any questions.
The only thing on the salary part, that does include our part-time employees. That's all salaries.
I'm sorry, it's all
salaries.
salaries. I'm sorry. Thank you.
It's been a while since we reviewed all this.
Yeah.
But that's for all salaries, part-time and full-time.
Okay, this is Jeff. I'm gonna take my video off. I think I'm more clear. Do you all have the agreement of the city and county, or actually the agreement of how funds, or is the city provides this, the county provides other, or me just being in here 3 years, I don't know exactly if there's any kind of agreement between. Is there something wrote up, or do you all have that?
There is an interlocal agreement.
Let me get my copy of that.
Mr. Houchin should have a copy of that also, it has not been reviewed in quite some time, but there is an interlocal agreement.
How long is a certain amount of time? Do you all know that? As far as
Sorry, Jeff.
I don't know of anything in the 3 years that my term, as far as talking about. So do you know how long it's been?
Probably the last time that interlocal agreement was reviewed was when the EMS employees become city employees. That interlocal agreement was reviewed and changed at that time.
It was 2013.
Yes.
And it more or less talks about the terms of the agreement, and that it's the Barron Fiscal Court, City of Glasgow, City of Cave City, City of Park City, Metcalfe County Fiscal Court, and the City of Edmonton. Just talks about the location, the funding. The Barron County Fiscal Court and the Metcalfe County Fiscal Court shall establish fees to be paid by the general public as telephone users. That's for the money coming in. Talks about the telephone company serving Barron and Metcalfe. And that Barron and Metcalfe County will remit those funds. All funds received and dispersed by and for the operation of the 911 center shall be audited. Talks about the governing board. There's not anything in terms of how much money's come in aside from the telephone fees that come in that is discussed in the interlocal agreement.
So you don't see any, like maybe the city is in charge of like the salary end and the county's in charge of the such and such. Someone had mentioned that maybe they thought that one of the masters that's been on several years had mentioned maybe thinking that was in there. And I don't know, because like I said, I wasn't here then to know if that was in any kind of writing of the city's supposed to be in charge of one line item or something in your budget.
Well, in the original interlocal agreement, which was the City of Glasgow and EMS, it actually talked about who paid what salaries, each agency providing one dispatcher. And again, that was changed when EMS employees become city employees. So no, there's nothing in writing that says the county is responsible for anything.
Okay. Billy, you and Mark got any other questions as far as Billy, you've been on a long time. What's your thinking on this presentation as far as your expertise of the years you've been on, and what are you thinking? Because I need your input.
I've been on the board for 911 board probably this is 7 years, I guess, but whatever they're needing, I'm hoping we can work it out for them. They definitely need more money. And it's a tough job with all the incoming calls we get and outgoing too. And it'd be well deserved if we can work it out for them.
Hey, Jeff, I want to add something. In this interlocal agreement you are talking, we're actually responsible for collecting the, as Linda said, collecting the phone line fees. And then we turn those over to 911. So that's really our responsibility as it relates to the interlocal agreement. And I think Linda also said Metcalfe County. So
Mhm.
just want to clarify that. So.
I guess as I was pondering on thinking about where possibly, we've created a budget already for this year, where would we, possibly pull out? One thing I was thinking, and I know sometimes that I have to understand, is there possibility of that relating to the tax money coming from alcohol? And I know that I may be way out, and I know there's guidelines you got to go by, but it looks like to me in my mind that this would pertain to that a little bit. But Judge, you probably already know the answer. I'm just trying to come up with some money pot that we can help them out with that can be used entitled for 911.
Sure, and I'd be willing to entertain that. I think that's going to be a lot of more paperwork on Beverly and April's side as far as keeping up with which runs was actually related to alcohol, and it's kind of what the sheriff's office is doing now. The deputies are keeping a separate tab that when they make that run, they just write it down. Hey, this is alcohol related. And again, and they may already, Beverly and April, you guys may already have an easy way to figure that out. But justifiably, that's what we would need to actually pull money from that. But it's got to be specifically related to the alcohol.
Judge, we do have that set up at this time. It's left up to the deputies to let us know on the disposition of the call that it was alcohol related, and we can mark that in CAD. That has been set up for a couple of years now. So if they give us that information, we can put it into CAD and we can pull it and give you an amount there.
Okay.
No cost.
Well, I know they're keeping a separate
Correct.
separate sheet just so we can justify giving them that money. So it may be an easier process than we thought. So.
Right.
Well, if there's possibility, and I would think if you all were keeping them records, we're not trying to judge the calls or whatever, but it is helping us, to figure out line iteming these calls. So, I would be Mark, you and Billy. I mean, if we could get enough information and it actually comes out of that particular, we know that cash flow has been up since the pandemic, or it had been the last time some reports had been given to us. And if we could possibly pull that out of that, I think that our committee would probably be highly favorable of the proposal, and probably the court also, if what are you thinking, Mark?
Well, my first thought is, that, the 911 is an integral part of Barron County. When you think about economic development and Barron County trying to move forward with that, you've got to have a strong 911 call center because they're affecting so many different departments here. The sheriff, the ambulance, fire, emergency management, animal control. I mean, so many people. So, if it's possible that funds can come from alcohol money, and if it can be used in this instance, which I would think there would be cases as we're discussing this that definitely would relate to that. So if we can move forward with that and that can fill this void, I'm fine.
Hey, Jeff, just an opinion for just consideration. What if we just go ahead and did a contribution so they could go ahead and get their raises where they need them? And then Jenny and I can clarify with the alcohol Department of Local Government or auditors to make sure that, we're not doing anything we're not supposed to be doing. And that way that doesn't handcuff Beverly and them to go ahead and do what they need to do. Then that gives us time to work it out in our next budget process. What do we want to contribute for the next fiscal year? That way they're not just waiting to figure out what we're going to do. What's that sound like to you?
It sounds great if you and Jenny have got, a line item somewhere in our budget that we created. I know that was the only concern. We had just got done, creating a budget, but that's fine. As long as you and Jenny can come up with a line item out of the new budget is not affecting any other, and I know it won't, but just making sure that we're not pulling it out of, somebody else's fund that might be needed, that we're saving, in case somebody gets in a bind.
It's just a contribution from the general fund. It won't affect the budget at all.
Okay.
Judge, are we talking amount that would cover the entire raise they're asking for?
That's up to you all. I know the request is 50,000. Whatever you guys decide, I'll support.
Okay, Mark, you and Billy, I really believe with the vibes that we've got, if they can pull up enough information, I like the idea, Judge. Let's make it a contribution. This will put them accountable on keeping records, and I think we can possibly, with the record keeping, possibly be able to look at it the next budget time. By then, we would know some answers if we can pull that out of the alcohol fund, and then maybe have a better game plan next year's budget. What do you think, Mark and Billy?
That sounds good to me.
Yeah, I think that sounds good to me too.
I like to have the budget first, but then they need the money, so.
Would it be possible, Judge and Jenny, if we end up finding out they have enough records and say 2 or 3 months down the road and there's enough evidence that justifies us pulling out some money out of that and reimbursing the general fund, we could go ahead and do that, correct?
I believe that we could. A lot of the problem is when you start asking those questions, we never really receive a straight answer, a yes or no or whatever. And most generally, we've got to ask it 2 or 3 times. But with my involvement in it, I don't see that being a problem. But hey, there may be somebody new, somebody different that may tell us otherwise. And Jenny, you may have a different opinion on it.
At this time, I would go with what you're saying, Judge. I think that we need to get some clarification on it. So I have the same opinion as you at this moment.
Okay. Billy, you and Mark have any other questions for the staff at 911?
No, I don't.
I don't either.
Okay, so here's what I want to do, and I know yesterday I was on one of the meetings, and one of the things that Judge was saying yesterday, and I agree 100%, these committees, if we're going to have these committee meetings, I think if we're going to have the committee meetings, we have to come together as a committee, whether it is for it or against it, and then present that to the court. And what's been happening in the last little bit, we're kind of we're wanting to just throw it to the court. Well, if we do that, then why are we having committee meetings? So I'm just saying that here we are. I know it has to go to the court, but we need to, get together with our committee right now. I think we've got enough evidence that we can do this. I think we want to support it, but we also know that our budget is very important to us, that we've spent a lot of time creating that, but this is a little different issue. I think we need to go on and support this, and I believe that we can probably get a lot of the money back. So I'm going to make a motion on behalf of our committee to accept the proposal of the $50,000 to 911. And as far as our committee, I'm doing that as a motion to accept that.
Yeah, I'll second
I'll
it.
second that.
Okay, Billy seconds it, and I need, so for clarification, I'm going to say aye, and then I need you all to say aye too. Okay, so I just wanted to make it clear that our committee is unanimously for this 50,000 as far as the information that we've got. So when we present it Tuesday, that our board, our committee is in agreement of this, and if it votes down, it votes down. But we just want to make sure that in our committee meetings that we try to get somewhat what we're feeling as a committee going to the court. So thank you all. And that's the last line item that we have is
Hey, Jeff.
yes.
I'm just, and I know he's not able to communicate with the committee meeting, but Master Coomer is on. Just to give him some clarity too, if we could put that PowerPoint back up and go to that pie shape of the percentages of runs for Glasgow, Barron County and all that. And let's break that down of who the Barron County folks are that are, let's see, sir.
I think it's the last slide, maybe.
No, that's
that's
it right
it.
there.
That's it,
That's
okay.
it.
I've got,
Yeah.
I wrote it down. 17,000 in the county, correct?
Yes.
Yes, with a 24%.
Uh-huh. Well, just break that 9% down. Is that ours? Is it the 9% or the 24%?
24.
Okay.
24.
And just explain, is that volunteer fire, emergency management,
That would go back to the first page on calls of service, which would be for all the county departments. The total on that was 17,290.
Okay.
And I don't know if I want to bring this out because it is very important to me. You can't really see it, or I can't see it there on the EMD calls. We started EMD, Emergency Medical Dispatch, April the 1st, 2020. And we performed 10,481 EMD calls for the last year. Guys, that says a lot. That we are talking people through CPR, baby's not breathing, baby's choked, whatever the case may be. That has put a lot on the plate of the dispatchers, because once you are on that EMD call, that's what your job is. You don't switch to anything else. But it is very important that we are doing those emergency medical dispatch calls. No, it's not state or federally mandated, but we chose with the EMS director to go ahead and push that out. If it saves one life, it's all worth it. But I just want to bring that out because it is new to everybody. So hats off to all my team, because it was a big task, but they've gotten through it and they're getting really good at it. So that's something for us to be proud of as a county and city agencies.
Beverly, one other thing, are the administrative calls broke out from here?
If you look at the next slide, Tracy, there. that tells you the 911 calls, the admit calls, and then our outgoing calls, how many times we're calling out, and then your average there. Because the total on that, I don't know if you all can see it, is 149,503. That's the total of all the calls coming in, going out, and then our text to 911. We actually do text to 911. We had 1,236 of those last year.
Good deal. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of break those numbers down that way. It's a little more, I guess, understandable
Right.
to folks that don't, participate in the 911. So,
And then another point at the bottom of the screen is that we also maintain, the dispatchers also maintain NCIC records. Stolen items, wanted persons, missing persons. That's for the Glasgow Police, Barron County Sheriff, Cave City Police, and the County Clerk's Office.
And on those admit calls, Judge, that 82,517, a lot of times those admit calls truly are emergency calls. A lot of people go ahead and call a number that they know in their head, 651-5151. So, some of that 82,000 there are emergency calls on that admin side of it.
well, thank you. I appreciate that. Just to kind of break that number down a little bit, but I'm fully support what the committee has decided here today.
All right, any other comments, Billy or Mark?
No,
Okay, I need, go ahead, Mark.
I said no. sir.
Okay, thank you. Just a motion to adjourn.
Vote to
Thank you
adjourn.
all.
Thank
All right,
you.
thank you all, and we adjourn.